Microsoft Azure VM Management and Azure Networking Training Program. It's a 2 days crash course here. I know most of the members already it's been attended yesterday's discussion, and right now we have been standing on in a VM installation and VM management discussion here. So team, I hope you can able to see my screen here. Let me share my screen. Suraj, if you can just promote my second ID, that would be great help.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's enabled.
It's been enabled here. So thank you, team. Right now we are discussing about a topic. How do we manage a VM here? Yesterday we have discussed about importance of Azure VM. We had a discussion about how practically you can able to install a server on in a Microsoft Azure cloud platform. That is a discussion we were doing so far. So right now we have implemented two VMs here. One scenario we were taking, not one scenario. Yesterday we were considering about a two scenarios here. First scenario we were discussing about, we are working for a organization. Organization is been currently it's been using a old devices or old legacy infrastructure. They want to do a lift and shift migration to a cloud platform. So how practically you can able to do a lift and shift migration, or in case if you are migrating from a on-premises to cloud, what are the benefits you are going to get it from the cloud side? That is a discussion yesterday we had. Second scenario we were discussing about, in case if you move on into a current scenario here. For example, like they want to install multiple operating system, they want to install different kind of applications here. How practically you can able to implement on top of Azure side? That is a discussion currently we are discussing here. So yesterday we have learned how practically you can able to connect to Azure platform, how practically you can able to install a Windows Server 2016 operating system. That is the discussion so far we had. Today we are planning to discuss about, once you implemented a server on in a cloud infrastructure, how practically you can able to manage that one. For example, like someone want to add a disk, or if someone want to add a additional disk or additional RAM or additional compute resource, how practically you can able to add additional resources here. That is a discussion currently we are planning to do in the first half. Second half we'll discussing about how practically you can able to do a networking on in the cloud infrastructure here. For example, like if you want to connect to devices, how practically you can able to interconnect these devices here. So that is the discussion we are planning to do here. Let me connect on into the portal here now. Let's go back to the portal. Let's go and implement first server once again. Then we'll see how uh, you can able to connect a two devices here. Allow me just to connect it here. Okay. So yesterday we have implemented two virtual machines here. You can see the virtual machine is been implemented VM1 and VM2 here. And we have learned along with your VM, lot of dependent resources also it's got created here. So possible like I'll try to recreate this VM here because we have a few people join the first time here. So let me start from one step back. Let's try to create a VM. Then we'll discuss about VM management here. So let me delete this existing resource group. Then we'll go for creating a new VM. Then we'll discuss about implementing of a networking components here. Let me delete this components here. Let's start from the scratch here. So let me delete or decommission the existing resources here. Let's give a 2 minutes. I'm just decommissioning existing resources here. Then we are going to install a new VM. On top of that, we are planning to do a VM management here. So let's work here. Let me decommission this on the resource here. It will take a few minutes here. Right now we are just removing or decommissioning existing resource, and then we are going to create a new VM. On top of that, we are planning to do a VM management, and we are planning to enable networking, and we are planning to enable a availability on top of that VM here. So right now we are decommissioning the existing resource which we have created yesterday here. Let's wait for 2 minutes. Let's wait for 2 minutes here. Removing production resource group here that you can able to see it on in the notification area. So it's taking our time here. So we are planning to create a new VM here. We are planning to create new VM on in a North Europe location here. So we are planning to create a new VM. On top of that, we are planning to create a web server here. So let's go and create a new VM on in a North Europe location, and VM name I'm planning to give it as is a server 1, and operating system we are going to select it as a server 2016 operating system. Then we'll try to see how practically you can able to connect and what are the other options are available for your VM here. We'll try to see how practically we can able to add additional disk, how practically we can able to resize your RAM and CPU also. We'll try to see how practically we can able to add additional RAM, or in case if you want to do any vertical scaling, how practically you can able to enable it on in a cloud. We'll discuss these 2 points here. So right now you can see on the screen, we are in a progress state of decommissioning of existing resource group here. So you can see we have a one, it's already got deleted here. Let's delete this also. So you can see here, let's connect it here. I'm just removing this resource group as well. Let's delete this as well. Decommissioning of existing resources are currently in progress here. Once it's been done, we'll go for creating a new VM. Then on top of that, we will be enabling a VM management or resource management here. It will take 3 to 4 minutes here. Let's wait for this to complete. Let me go and create a new VM here. So we already decided we are planning to create a server one in a North Europe location here. Let's go back here. You can just go back to the portal here. Let's go to the virtual machine here. Add a new virtual machine. Resource group name. Let me give it as a non-prod, and virtual machine name. Let's give it as a server one here. In a North Europe location, this has been created. And the operating system, we are planning to select it's a Windows Server 2016 data center version here. So we are going to use a Microsoft operating system here. So let's take a Microsoft operating system. Enable first username and password here. We already had a discussion yesterday. Importance of a first username. Why do we need this administrator account here? We already had a discussion. So let me review and create it here. Let's wait for a moment. Validation completed. Installation triggered here. We are trying to create a new VM on in a North Europe location here. Let's finish this. You can see this already is in progress here. Let's wait for this to complete. Right now, you may be able to see like you have a new VM. It's got created here. You can see here there is a server is been got created, and the server name we have given it's a server one here, and it's been got created in a non-prod resource group, and it's been created on in a North Europe location here. Yesterday we were discussing at the moment when you implemented a server, along with your server, lot of components is been got installed automatically here. If you go back to this old resource tab here, you may be able to see along with your VM, there is a network watcher, there is a IP address, there is a network security group, there is a virtual network, there is a network interface, there is a disk it's got created here. So you need to understand the moment when you implemented a Windows server or any operating system on in a cloud, along with your VM, lot of dependent component will be created automatically. Now, if you take a one by one here, the first component it's got created along with your VM. It's about your disk here. So you can see if you take any VMs here, for example, like if you take the current VM here, server one. Let me try to connect to the server one here. You can just connect using a public IP address here. Let's connect to the server here. I'm just trying to connect it here. I'm just giving the username and the password here. I hope team you may be remembering this username and the password here, right? You may be recalling at the time of the VM creation, you would have been provided this username and the password here, right? So the same username and the password which you have configured here, right? You can see here, like if you give here, You can just see I'm just entering the username and you can see I'm just re-entering the username here. Look like it's been given a wrong username here. Let me re-enter the username password here. Oh, look like the username and password it's been wrong here. Let me re-enter the username once again. Look like it's got some issue with the server. I think it's been taking here. Now you can see we have provided the right username and the password, and we have been connected here. So the discussion right now we are doing, at the moment when you implemented any server, how many disks by default it's got created here? That is the discussion right now we are planning to do here. Right now you can see here the server has been connecting. It will take a few minutes. Right. So it's been here. You can see here it's been connected here. You can see here this has been progressing here. Now you can go to my disk or it's like my computer here. You may be able to see how many disks it's been showing you. Tim, can you comment it on the chat? Right, I'm just discussing the moment when you implemented any server here, how many disks are created automatically here? Tim, are you able to identify how many disks by default it's been showing you? Can you type the size also? You can see here, right? How are the size you are seeing here? You may be able to see there are two disks by default it's been showing here. Now, the first disk you can able to see on in a Windows operating system, it's your C drive here. You may be able to see C drive, and by default size you may be able to see like 127 GB. That 126 actually 127 GB. It's been by default. It's been coming for your C drive here. Any idea what is the purpose of C drive here? Any idea what is the purpose of C drive in a Azure VM? What is the purpose of a C drive here? Basically, the C drive it's been using for holding your operating system files. So the moment when you install your operating system on in your Azure VM, all your operating system files it's been saved inside your C drive here, and it's holding all your drivers, any system level files or any configuration has been needed for your Windows operating system to boot. All that files by default it's been saved inside your C drive here, and by default it's been using for application temporary files also. Any new application it's been installed by default it's been pointed into a C drive here. So the point here, at the moment when you install any Azure VM, by default you will be able to see there is a disk which has been configured with a 127 GB here. So what is the minimum disk size? You may be able to see like you have a 127 GB is the size you can able to see, and maximum you can able to see the size you can able to configure up to 4 TB here. So team, I hope you're getting the point here. The point I'm just trying to discuss about, the moment when you create a VM here, by default size for your VM, it's going to be 127 GB, and maximum size it's going to be up to 4 TB here. Is that point is been clear? You may be able to see like maximum you can able to create up to 4 TB here. So when you go back on into your project, if the customers are looking at any point of time for any expansion, sometimes the customer will say, right now, Robin, your size of your disk is 127 GB. I want to add additional application, so I want 1 TB size here. So definitely, people may be thinking, is it possible to expand it here? You can able to see like you have a resources here. So that the way it's been configured here. So maximum size it can configure. It's been available on in a cloud scenario here, right? So that is the way it's been configured here. So the moment when you configured on in a cloud side here, by default, the size is going to be 127 GB, and maximum you can able to go up to 4 TB here. That is the size you can able to configure here. Now, if you take a Linux operating system, now you can able to see like right now whatever discussion currently we have been done, um, it's about a Windows operating system. If you take a Linux operating system, by default your root drive, I'm just discussing about a Linux scenario. By default for a Linux operating system, you will be able to see 30 GB is the default size, and maximum it can go up to 4 TB on in a Linux scenario also. So if you're using a C drive, purpose of the C drive, it's basically using for your operating system file. It's been using for your application file, and minimum size it's going to be 30 GB, and the maximum size it can be able to use it for 4 TB also. I can give you some lecture note for you. Let me paste this lecture note on the chat. Possible this will be helpful for you. I hope you can able to copy this one. I just pasted on in the chat. I hope you can able to see here, right? So, so this is the sites. Tim, are you able to copy this one here? I hope you can able to copy this one here, right? Okay, great. Now let me give you few more points here. So if it is a Linux operating system side, let me give you that points also. Purpose of a C drive on in a Linux side also. So you can see here. You can see here it's been Linux side also the same way here. I'm just giving Linux operating system minimum and maximum size details also on the chat here. I hope you can able to get all that information on in the right side chat window here. See, there's the details here. Disk type. Uh, these are the few points you can consider in case if you're going for a Linux operating system here. So the point here, if it is a Windows operating system, by default size is going to be 127 GB, maximum size is going to be 4 TB, and if it is a Linux operating system, by default size is going to be 30 GB, maximum size it can be up to 4 TB. That is the size we can able to configure here. Now you may be notice one more point here. The moment when you connected on into a site here, there is another disk also it's been configured here. See, what is the disk's name you're seeing here? It's been mentioned about temporary knowledge here, right? You can able to see like you have a resource has been available here, right? You may be able to see like you have a resource has been available here, right? So you can see here, it's something it's been written called temporary storage here. You can see here the name it's been used, it's a temporary storage here. So this basically it's been using for saving your page files, page saving your virtual memory, or you may be heard about in a Linux kind of a scenario, it's called SAP space here. So this only a cache memory. It is basically using for giving a better performance for your VM. You are using a temporary storage here. Size of your temporary storage, it's going to be always it's been it depends upon what is the series you are using here. Now, if you take your current VM size, if you see here, what is the size you have been selected? It's a 16 GB, right? You can see it's a V3 you have been used. Now, if you go back to the size, you see almost double size of your RAM. It's been allotted for your temporary storage. You see, 16 into 2. So always you can be able to see on in a Azure scenario, temporary storage. It's a kind of a volatile memory here, and the size of the disk it's going to be a it's a kind of a double of your RAM size. Normally you can able to see it on here. So that's about a two disk or a size normally we are using here. So by default, you can see there is a way two disk will be created. One, it's been using for your operating system, and second option is been used for your um, second option it's been used for your what is the purpose here? Second option it's been used for your volatile or it's a caching purpose here. I hope this point it's been clear to everyone here, right? I hope you are clear about this. If you're clear, can you comment it on the chat here, please? Great. So, team, you're clear about this here. Now, right now we understood whenever you install a VM here, you are getting a option of a C drive. You are getting a uh, option of your temporary storage also. Now, when it is coming on in a real-time scenario, we are not preferring C drive or we are not preferring your temporary storage for saving any of the data here. That is the one important point. What is the reason behind that? Because you may be already knowing if you save any data on in a C drive, if there is any kind of a operating system failure or operating system is got corrupted, or in case if you are facing anything on in a operating system level, there is a risk is been involved because there is a chance of losing your data on in your C drive here. That's the reason in a real time or in a production scenario, we are not preferring C drive for saving any data here. Make sense? Team, I hope you're clear here, right? I'm just discussing here. Yes, that's been super here. You may be able to see like you have a resources been available here. You can see able to see like you have a resources been available, and you may be able to see like you are looking for configure on in a cloud here, right? So you can able to see like you have a solution has been available here. Is that point has been clear to team? Okay, great. Now uh, the next point it's been coming. In case if you are not allowed to, we are not saying we are not allowed. We can save the C drive here, but a risk has been involved. That the reason we are not preferring your C drive or your root drive for your saving any of the data here. So in a real-time scenario, instead of saving a data on in a C drive, always we prefer to use a additional disk here. Now you may be thinking, in case if I'm not able to use a C drive, can I use the temporary storage here? So this may be the another question. Most of the members may be thinking now here. Can we save data on in a root drive? In case if I'm saving data on in a root drive, sorry, not the root drive, temporary storage, what will happen? Can we use it here? So I'll do one thing. Let me give you a simple scenario. Let me try to save a user data. Possible, I'll try to give like movies, and I'll try to create another file called application confidential file. Okay, conf files. So I have saved two data here. Now, where exactly I have been saved here? I have saved inside the temporary storage here. Now, one day morning, unexpectedly, there was a by mistake the server is got rebooted here. See, I just saw, or if someone has been forcefully has been triggered the shutdown button here. Let's wait here. You can see here. You can just wait for this to shut down here. You can see the server is got shut down here. Now you may be remembering we have created a two user data on in the temporary storage. Hey team, what is the file we have been saved inside that? Can you comment it on the chat? You can see a movies and confidential file here. Now, by mistake, someone has been triggered a shutdown here. Let me power on. Let me power on here. Right now, I'm just powering on the existing VM here. Let's wait. You can see the server is been powered on here. Let me reconnect to the same server here. Let me connect it here. I'm just connecting here, entering the username and the password here. It will take a minute here. Let's connect it here. You can see here. You can see here the server is being connected here. Now, let me go to my computer here. Let me connect it here. See, you have a temporary storage here. Oh, what happened to our file here? Where is our movies? Mohammed Sakir, Jad, Jay. What happened here? So, team, what is your understanding here? Okay, team, what you learned here? Team, what is your takeaway here? You have you got a VM. That VM is got by default to disk here, and you have saved some data on in a temporary storage. The moment when you restarted or the moment when you shut down your system, always the server has been starting from a clean state. So the point here, the temporary storage, it's only using for boosting the performance of your VM. You cannot save the data. Agree with this statement? You can save the data, but what will be the problem? Next time, if the server is been rebooting, if the server is gone through any kind of a shutdown or any kind of a scenario, you are going to face a risk. You are going to face a data loss on in your server. Are you agreeing with the statement here? If yes, can you put a comment on the chat here? If you learned this or you're clear about this concept, can you put a like button, please? Thank you, Muhammad. I'm expecting from everyone here because I want everyone to be on the same page here because we have a, yes, I can see there is a question from uh, Mr. I can see there is a question. I'm not able to read the name here. Can you comment it on the chat here? I think uh, Torres, I think, right? Yeah, Torres, I think, want to ask some questions here. Torres, look like you got some questions here. Can you comment it on the chat, please? Great. So the point here, you have a resource has been available here. You can able to see like it's been not used temporary storage. It's been like a RAM here. It's like a volatile here. At any point of time, if you're restarting, we cannot save your data here. This always will be started from a clean state here. So end of the day, you need to understand the moment when you create a VM, by default you have a C drive and you have a by default you have a D drive is been got created, and both the drive are not recommended to save any of the data here. Is that point has been clear to everyone? Any questions from anyone? Are we good? Now you may be getting a question. How do we save a data here? Now at any point of time, if the customer has been looking for any additional space for saving a user specific data or a application specific data, you can add additional disk here. You can go and add additional disk here. I'll show you how practically you can able to add additional disk here. Now, you need to understand one important point in a real-time scenario. If you are planning to go for any additional disk configurations here, you need to follow ITIL standard process here. Have you heard about a process called ITIL? How many of them have been heard about a framework called ITIL here? How many of them have been heard? Anyone has been heard about a framework? It's called ITIL. If you're working on in a operation role, the standard uh, process we are going to use or it's been learned, it's called ITL practice here. So if you're working on in Azure or if you're working on in any IT role, the standard framework or a process which you're going to use it on in your day-to-day operation, it's going to be the ITL practice here. Now, the point here, right now we have been learned, yes, right now you're right. Right now the version, it's been using a version 4. In the past, it was a version called version 3 here. Right now the version we are using, it's a version 3 here. So that's when here. You can see here. You can see here. You have a resource has been available and you need to add additional one here. So right now the question here, since we are not allowed to use a C drive or a temporary storage, that means your D drive, how do we save your data here? So the answer we got, always it is in a real-time scenario, you need to provide additional storage or you need to add additional disk. That is an important point. So if the customer is looking additional space, it's better to have a additional storage, better to have a additional uh, disk to be created here. And with the help of that, you can able to add it here. Any questions from anyone? Okay, so you need to add additional disk here. Let me show you how practically you can able to add additional disk here. One option, right now we have already a server has been available. That means already have a provision VM has been available. Let's go and see how practically you can able to add a disk into an existing VM which already it's been deployed here. Now the point here, whenever you go for adding any additional disk or additional storage, you need to ensure that you have a approved change request has been taken. So whenever you go for creating any VM, always ensure that you have a change request it's been available and this has to be approved by the cab and business also. Because if you are adding any additional disk, you are adding additional pricing for your VM. So that is an important point. So if you go for adding any disk here, you can able to see like it's adding here a additional disk here. So that is the additional important point you all need to remember here. So if you go for configuring here, with the help of that, you can able to add additional disk here, and that's just been like here. So you have a disk has been available. With the help of that, you can able to add it here. Now let's go and see how practically you can able to add this for an existing VM. So it's very simple process. You can select the respective VM here. You can go to the properties of the VM, and if you select the properties of the VM, middle of the screen, you may be able to see there is an option called disk here. See, you can see there is an option called disk here. You can able to configure a disk options here. See, you have an option has been available here. You can see there is an option has been available, and with the help of that, you can able to add a disk here. See, you have a option has been here. You can see there is an option called create and attach a new disk here. See, you can have an option has been available. You can available here. You can create it here. Add disk here. Now here you can able to give the disk name. I'm just giving like this is for my SQL data disk. Here you can able to give the size of your disk here. So the size of the disk normally it's been given in a GB format. It's been not given on in a MB format. The size of the disk normally it's been given on in a GB format. You see, right now I've been given a size. It's a 10 GB. You see, I just given like a 10 GB. I'm just applying. You see. So right now you can see we have created a additional disk. From where exactly it's been created? On the properties of the VM. You see, there is a disk it's been created. Right now this has been attaching or updating with your VM here. So you can see here have a it's been progressing here. You can just see disk has been added here. You can see here. Now we can see there is a new disk has been created, and the disk name we are given it's a SQL, and the size of the disk it's been given as a 10 GB here. See, that size has been 10 GB. Now, let me go back to the server here. Let me go to the my computer here. Let me select it here. Are you able to see like are you able to see here? You can see the disk has been not showing here. See, you can able to see like you have a disk has been available here, right? You can able to see like configure here. You can able to see here. The disk has been not showing here. So technically, you are added the disk, but the operating system has been not identified here. So you need to configure it here. You can able to see here. It's been not displayed here. So you can see here. You can just see here. It's been not displayed. So you need to go to the disk here. That means in a disk management, you can go to disk management here by typing a command disk mgmt.msc here. This will be taking to the console here. Once again, it's been it was a typo mistake. See, right now we have been connected to the disk management console here. Now we are getting a message. It's saying you have a new disk has been added here. See, but you're not initialized here. So the point here, whenever if anyone has been added any disk here, this has to be initiated or enabled on in a OS layer also. So in a OS layer, you need to accept it and you need to initialize here. See, now I have been accepted here. Now I need to create this as a volume here. See, I need to go and create a new partition here. In case if you not created here, it's not be able to use it for any end user here, because in a OS layer, it's been not used here until unless you have been not partitioned here. So using Azure portal, you may be added additional disk until unless if you're not enabled or until unless if you're not triggered a partition or on in a OS layer, you won't be able to use it here. And another interesting part here, if you are creating your VM here, it's your responsibility to give volume label name also. So in your OS in the portal layer, you may be given SQL name or you may be given a disk name here. Technically, that it's been not reflected on in a OS layer here. So in the Azure portal layer, you may be given a disk name, but in a OS layer, this won't be dictated that label name here. So every time, try to give the same name whatever you are given on in the Azure side here. So it's been easy for you to track it here. Right now, if you give your name is a SQL and on in your OS layer, if you are giving a database, today you may be configuring this configuration here. Tomorrow the server may be managed by someone else here. So they may be getting confusion here. Why this a DB has been displayed here? Because I have a server on in other side here. So always try to give the same name. So that won't confuse anyone here. See, so better to give the same name here. So SQL and install it here. See, I just configured here. So you have a solution has been available here. See. Currently, this service or additional disk has been created here. Now you can just it can be created here. See, disk has been created here. Now, if you go back to the disk here, my computer here, you can see you can able to start able to use this disk here. See, you can able to save the data. You can able to reboot. You can able to start You won't face any kind of a data redundancy or a data loss issues here. So this is the way, or this is the method normally we used to use it in case if you want to add additional disk for a existing VM here. So there's a way normally it's been configured here. So when you configure any account, by default this has been configured in this way. Yes, you can able to go and add it here. Now you may be able to see like you have a resources been available. You can able to see like you have a resources been available, and you can able to add while creating a VM also. Right now, whatever discussion we have been done, we discuss about at the time of the or after the provisioning how this has been enabled. That is the discussion we had, right? Now, let me show you how practically you can able to add a disk while installation of your VM also. Let me connect a new VM here. I'll just give a new name. It's called server 2. Let me give you a new name here. Now on the tab here, you may be able to see there is a tab called disk tab here. See, you have a disk tab here, right? You can able to see there is a disk tab here. Now here you can able to go and add a new disk here. See, here you can able to give your new name. I'm just giving like a additional disk, or this is for my Oracle database here. So whatever size you want, that you can able to pick it from here, and you can able to create it here. See, so I'll while creating a VM itself using a disk option, you can able to add it here. See, I'm just trigger the installation here. So we were discussing about both the options here. You can able to configure here. So you have a additional resources been available. With the help of that, you can able to configure here at the time of the VM creation. Let's wait. You can see the installation is in progress here. You can see your new server is been got created here. Let's do one thing. Let's go and see on in a OS side here. Before that, let's validate on an Azure side. You can see there is a new server is got installed here. Name of the VM we are given, it's a server 2. Now if you go to the properties here, you may be able to see there is a additional disk. It's got assigned with your disk here, assigned with your VM here, and that additional disk name we have given, it's a Oracle DB is the disk name here. Now let's go to the server side here. You can see there's a 10 GB disk. It's got added here. Now let's go back to the other side. Let's go to the other side here. Let me add here. You can see your second server is got connected here. Now let's go on to connect onto the portal here. See, you may be able to see, even though if you added at the time of the creation here, your disk is been not created here. Disk is been not attached here. See, you have a disk has been available. You can see here, you have a resources been available. You see, now you need to do the same exercise here. You can go to the disk management. You can able to add additional disk here. See, you can just go back to the portal here. You have a disk has been available. Same exercise you need to do. You need to go and create it here. See, you can see here. Let's go and see here. You have a disk has been available. Let's create a simple volume or a simple partition so we can able to make use of this disk here. Let's give this is a TB disk here. You can just create it here. Finish. New disk creation. Almost it's been progress here. Great. You can see here a new disk has been available. You see, DB is got created. You see, new database file it's got created here. So these are the two methods normally we are using for adding an additional disk here, because C drive and a D drive, it's been not recommended to save any of the data here. I hope this point has been clear to you. I can see there is another question on the chat here. In case if we need a 32 GB size, what is the procedure we need to do? If you need 32 GB of the size, definitely you need to select a VM series on the particular size here. In case of a 32, so you know how to select 64 GB size here. So double, that means 32 means 60 GB RAM you need to select it here. So you need to go to the size here, and you need to select a 16 GB RAM. So definitely you will get a 32 here. So that's the way you can able to do here. So you can able to see this has been got created here. So any question here? We will consider, yes, you need to consider J is the RAM size, because your term storage it's called a dependency with the RAM size here, always the double of the size here. Jay, you may be remembering on in an on-premises scenario, a page file always it's been like a 1.5 in your RAM size, right? So that's the way it's been configured on in an on-premises scenario. In a cloud scenario, instead of 1.5, it's been taking it to into RAM size here. So that's the way it's been configured here. Almost an hour now. Let's take a 5 minutes refreshment break. Then we'll start our discussion here. Let's take a 5 minutes break and be back. I hope you're back. Requesting you to confirm through the chat option here or the like button if you're back. I request everyone to confirm. That's great. So we got a few confirmations here. Great, thank you. Now we have discussed about how practically you can able to add additional disk here. Next, we are planning to discuss about how do we add a RAM or a CPU here. For example, if you take your current server here, currently the server one, it's been configured with the 4 CPU here. See, you can see here, currently the server is been configured with a 4 CPU here and 16 GB RAM. Now the customer is saying, no, I don't need 16 GB here. I want 32 GB here, or I need 4 GB here. Or the customer is saying like the server is been not meeting my expectations here. Otherwise, I'm facing a size or a performance or a bottleneck issue here. How practically you can able to do a vertical scaling here? What are the option is been available for increasing the size of your RAM or increasing the size of your vCPU here? You may be remembering on in a on-premises scenario, if someone want to make any kind of vertical scaling, we need a downtime. We may have to purchase the hardware and we need to install on top of your physical box here, right? But when it is coming on in an Azure scenario here, you can go to the server properties here. You may be able to see there is an option is been available called resize or size here. See, if you go to the properties here, you can able to see here, right? You can able to do here. You can see here. You can see here. You can just go to the size here. Now, important point here, you have a resource has been available, right? You have option has been available. You can see here. You can see here. You can select any size here. For example, like customer is saying 16 GB has been not sufficient for me. I want 32 GB. So you can select that size here. See, RAM is been 32 GB here. Then you can able to click the option called resize here. One important point you need to remember here, if you are making any kind of configuration change here, for example, if you're trying to make any kind of disk resize here, the server will go through a reboot here. So technically you need a downtime. So the point here, at any point of time, if you're trying to make any kind of a disk configuration change, that's need a downtime here, right? You can able to see a like here, right? You can see here, you have a resources been available. You can see here, you have a resources available here, right? 32 here. You can able to click resize. Now you can see the moment when you click the option called resize here, your server will go through a reboot here. See, you can see it's making a configuration change. Same time, once the resizing has been done, server will go through a reboot here. So that is an important point. You can see here. You can see here, it's been rebooted here. It's been rebooted here. Right now, you can see. You can see this has been okay. Let's go back to the server here. You can see size is got rechange. You see 32 GB RAM here. Now, in case if you want to validate, you can connect to the server here. Just connected here. You can see it's been connected here. You can see here. Let's go back to the server here or my computer properties. Let's go to the properties here. You can see here. It's been, what is the size you are seeing here? You can see server also is got upgraded with the 32 GB. Now, you may be thinking, right now we have upgraded the RAM here. Is there a possibility to downgrade? Yes, we can able to downgrade also. In case if you want to downgrade here, same exercise we need to do. You can go to the size here. Now from the size, you can select the customer requirement here. For example, like I want to resize to 7 GB, I can select it here, resize here. But the problem here, if you're making a resize, performance also may degrade, and definitely the price also going to be changed, and there will be a downtime also here. I'm just resizing the VM here. You can see this been reported here. Let's wait for here. You can just go back to the server here. Currently, the server it's been going through the downgrade size here. You can see it's been resized here. Let's refresh. Already done, right? Let's wait for a moment here. Possible. Let's restart and see. I'm just restarted here. Let's connect it here. I think it's been successfully. It's been restarted here. Let's go back here. I'm just trying to connect to the server here. Let's go and see on in the OS layer also. You can see it has been loading here. Let's wait. You can see it has been connected here. Let's go back to the portal here. What is the size you're seeing here? Tim, what is the size you're seeing? Can you comment it on the chat? It's been 6 point. That means it's 7 GB here, right? You can see here. With the help of that, we can able to configure here. Now, we have seen how practically we are adding a memory or a CPU here. You can see it's been easy for you to add with the help of the portal here. Next, we are going to discuss about another concept. How do we configure networking here? What is the IP address it's been assigned for your VM here? Before that, any questions from anyone? Any questions from anyone here? If you're good, can you comment it on the chat? Okay, great. Now, let's go and see how practically you can able to enable a networking here. If you see this current scenario here, you may be noticed there will be two IP addresses been assigned for your VM here, right? You can see there is a public IP address has been configured. There is a private IP address has been configured here. There are two IP address. Right now you can able to see it's been assigned for your VM here. So we are planning to discuss about in case if you enable a VM or in case if you enable or it's been created a server on in a cloud platform, how practically you can able to communicate each other. You can remember in case if you have configured two servers on in a on premises, for example, in your on premises scenario, if you want to communicate to server, how practically it's been done here, you may be remembering there is a cable you may be taking. Cable may be connecting between two network devices here, right? You may be able to see like these two devices will be connected through a device called Ethernet port here, right? You may be seeing on in the backside of your laptop or in your server, there is a network interface card or a network interface adapter is been available where you're connecting a cable here. Now, the question is coming, do we have any such kind of network interface card available on in your cloud VM? That'll be the first question. In case if you want to make any kind of a communication, you are already aware if you want to make any kind of a communication network interface card or Ethernet card is being needed here, right? So you have a Ethernet card is being needed here. How practically you can able to add a network interface card, or is there any other NIC is being got enabled here? Let's try to understand that on in a cloud VM perspective here. If you go back on into your server here, you can see you have a two server is been available. If you go back to the old resources here, are you seeing any network interface card here? See, are you seeing any network interface card here? You can see here, there is a two network interface card. You may be able to see it for your server here. See, there is a two network interface card. So the first one, you can see server one followed by a random number. So this is be created for your server one. Server two followed by a random number 848 here. So this is be created for second VM here. So the point here, at the moment when you create a VM, automatically there will be a network interface card will be created that will be connected to your network internet networking device here. So if you go back to the virtual machine here, you have a 2 VM available here. If you go to the properties here, if you select our properties here, you may be able to see there is a networking option. You can see here. You can see here. I'm just connecting here network settings. You may be able to see here. There is a network interface card. It's been created. You see how many network interface card right now it's been created here. Can you comment it on the chat? How many network interface card? By default, one VM has been assigned. You may be able to see only one network interface card. Currently, it's been assigned here. In case if you want to see on an OS perspective here, you have a server is been here, right? Look like this your server. Go to ncpa.cpl. How many network interface card you can see here? You can see here. You can see one network card here. Now, at any point of time, if you want to enable a load balancer, or in case if you want to enable any redundancy on in a network interface card level, you may be remembering in a on-premises scenario, we used to enable a redundancy option on in a network card level. That's called NIC bonding, right? You may be remembering NIC bonding, or there is a concept called NIC teaming also, right? There is a two concept available here. One, it's called NIC bonding. Second one, it's called NIC teaming here. So if you want to enable a redundancy on in a network interface card level, you can add additional network card here. How practically you can able to add it here? If you go back to the server here, you have an option available here. It's called add or attach network interface card here. See, you have an option is been available. It's called attach network interface card here. See, you have an option here. Are you seeing here? You can see there is a option called attach network interface card here. So one important point, at any time you want to add any additional here, you can able to see there is a option called operation cannot be performed here. That means if you want to add any attached a network interface card, first of all, you need to move your computer on in a stop condition. You see, you need to stop the computer here. Then only you can able to add additional network interface card here, right? So you can see here. You can see here. You can see here. Server is been off situation now. Now, if you go to the network settings, you have an option for adding additional network card. You see, create a new network interface card. I just given like it's a backup nick. Just given a unique name here. Backup nick. Create it here. See, you can see here. It's almost on progress here. You can see there is an additional. You can see here. You can see here. Now it's been now added here. Let's power on the server. So we have added additional network interface card here. Let's go and see it on in the server side. Let's connect it here. It will take a few minutes here. You can see the server is been adding here. You can see here server is been started. Let's connect here. You can see here. Now, how many network card it's been showing here? Let's go to the portal here. See how many network card team is able to see it on the portal. Can you comment it on the chat? You can see there is a two network card. It's been enabled here. See, there is a two network card. It's been available here. So 2 point you need to remember here. 1 point at any point of time, if you're thinking like you want to add additional network interface card, you need a downtime. You cannot do on the fly here. At any point of time, if you want to add any additional network interface card, there is a downtime is being needed here. Now, definitely you may be thinking, what is the maximum network interface card I can able to attach to a device here? See, now in case if you want to add here, see, you may be able to see there's a message here. See, current series DS2 version 2 supported maximum 2 network interface card here. So it's all depends upon what is the size or what is the configuration you are using here. So it's all depends upon it's been supported on in a Azure VM. You can see here. It's all depends upon what is the series you are using here. I'm just pasting one list on the chat here. If you are using a series here, I'm just typing maximum VNIC. It's been supported on in a each case here. You can see here. You can see each series what is the maximum network interface card it's been supported. I just given on in the chat here. See, it all depends upon what is the series you are using here. See, you can see here. can see here, you have a series has been given here. So these are the few architecture points you can consider here. I just pasted on the chat here. These are the few points you can consider. Now, what is a NAC teaming? Let me type that details also on the chat. So I can just write this also. It's been like, where do we need a additional NAC team, NAC card? It's all depends upon the NAC teaming here. You can make a note of this. You can see here. That's about the NAC teaming here. So team, I hope you are clear about the NAC part and you are clear about this and RAM here, right? Any questions so far? If you're good, we can able to move to the next topic. And the next topic, it's about VNet here. So the next topic we are going to discuss, it's about VNet here. We'll take a tea break and then we'll go for VNet creations here. So we need to have a long discussion. So we'll take a tea break, almost a 2 hour now. Let's take a tea break and we'll go for the configuration discussion here. Let's take a tea break of 10 minutes and we'll go for a VNet discussion here. Thank you. I hope you're back. So, so far we are discussing about how do we had additional network card. We had a discussion about how do we had additional disk, RAM, and practically we are trying to discuss about vertical scaling and horizontal scaling of Microsoft Azure VM here. Next, we are planning to discuss about how do we enable a networking on in a cloud scenario here. You may be remembering if you are configured any servers on in a on-premises scenario. I was saying if you have only two devices, this can be connected with the help of a cable here, right? You can remember like if you have only two devices been available, this can be connected with the help of a cable here. Now you can think if you have a more than one device here in a on-premises scenario, you would have used a internet networking device here, right? You can remember like if it is an old device, you may be using a hub or switch or router may be used for making a internet networking between devices here. Now the question is coming, if you are using a Azure VM, how practically you can able to make a communication on in a cloud scenario? What are the options it's been available and how we can able to assign IP address here? So you can see on in a cloud scenario, at the moment when you enable a VM, automatically there is a VNet is got created here. See, if you go back onto the portal here, you have a VM is being got created here, and you may be notice here there is a network is been created automatically. You see, there is a server one, a network is been created, and it's been assigned only a VM inside this one here. So you can see here like you have a resources been available, and you may be notice here if you able to see like you have a resources been available. You see, there is a VNet. It's been available here, right? So if you take any servers here, all the servers are virtually it's been connected to a component called virtual network. You see, automatically the virtual network it's been created, and this virtual network it's technically it's been replacing the physical asset or a physical network component we were using on in an on-premises scenario. In an on-premises scenario, you may be remembering with the help of a hub or switch or a DHCP server, we used to assign an IP address. We used to enable a communication here, right? Now, in a cloud scenario, this internet networking concept, it's been replaced by the a component called VNet here. So if you take a Microsoft scenario, the network component we are using is called VNet. If you take AWS, the component name, it's known as VPC. Or if you take Google, it's been known as a cloud networking gear. So VNet is the technical term. It's going to be replace your internet networking device on in a on-premises scenario, and in a Azure scenario, this is be doing as a VNet. And if you take other component, it's basically known as a VPC or it's a cloud network here. So the point right now you have learned, the moment when you create a VM, automatically your VNet has been created along with your VM here. See, server 1 or a server 2. Along with that, your virtual network component has been created here. Now, you may be seeing here, at the moment when you create a VNet, a IP address has been assigned here. Now, we have a challenge here. The moment when you create a IP address here, this may be not matching with the IP schema, or it's been not matching with the IP address of your organization here, right? Because right now, if you see here, 10.series has been assigned here. Now, you take a scenario like your organization has been already using another schema, or like a 10.1 series, or a 10.2 series, or it may be using 172 series or a 192 series. It's not been matching with the default IP address here. So any production scenario, if you're planning to enable a VM, it's your responsibility to configure virtual network or enable a VNet from your side. rather than Microsoft is been enabling a communication here. So that's important here. So rather than you're deciding here, it's your responsibility to decide the virtual network, or it's your responsibility to configure the VNet component from your side here. Now, if you go back here, if you can see here, like you have a resources been available. Now, if you can see here, you can see here, we can just go back here. We have a server is been available here. Now, let me do one thing. Rather than Microsoft is be deciding here, let's us decide what is the IP address we need here. So let me delete these things. Let's go and decide what is the IP address is being needed from our side here. Rather than Microsoft is deciding, we are going to decide what is the IP address is being needed here. Let's select. You can see here. I'm just decommissioning the existing one. We are just trying to create a new one here. Let's go and see. I'm just decommissioning the resource here. It will take a few minutes here. You can see here, decommission already, it's been completed here. Now, rather than Microsoft is been deciding the VNet here, we are deciding what is the IP schema needed for our organization. There are two ways we can able to create. One method, you can create VNet well in advance. You can just go and create a virtual network well in advance. Then you can map your VM here. That's a one method. Second method, while creating a virtual machine, you can decide your network. Then all your rest of the VM can be mapped into that VNet in the later stage here. So let me take the second approach first here. Then we'll go for seeing the first option also here. Let me go and create the first VM here. While creating your VM, along with your VM, let's create a VNet here. Let's go back here. Let's go to the creator here. I'll just try to create resource group. It's called Orange. Server name, I'm just trying to create as a test VM1. Trying to create in a North Europe location here. Let's create it here. Enter the details. Now you can just go to the networking tab here. In the networking tab, you are deciding what is the range of the IP address your organization is needed here. Now, The moment when you create a virtual network, it's better to define a unique name here. Right now, you may be able to see there is a name is been given. Name is been given like your virtual machine name followed by a VNet here. Rather than using a default name, better to use a unique name so that can be used for in a future also. I'm just trying to give like this is for my orange broad network here. So in future, if someone has been seeing this VNet, they will be able to identify this has been used by the orange project and it's been used for a production scenario here. So always try to give a unique name here. You can just go back here. You can see here. Doing here. Now I'm just given a IP address here. See, I just given 10.0.0./16 here. So that means 2 raised to 16. So this has been creating a pool of 65,000 IP address here. See, so it's been starting from 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.5 here. See, so this is the range it's been configured here. So I'm just selecting here. I'm just giving OK and selected here. Review and created here. It's been created here, triggered the installation here. Master, it's in progress here. Let's wait. It's been completed, you see. Now you can see there is a virtual network. It's been created from our side. And the virtual network name, it's been given like a orange prod VNet ESC. Orange prod VNet ESC. Orange prod VNet. And the range we are given, it's like a 10.0.0./16 here. Now, if you go back to your virtual machine here, your virtual machine currently it's been created and it's been associated to the same network here. See, it's been associated to the same orange prod VNet here. See, it's been associated to the same orange prod VNet here. See, you can see this been associated to the same prod VNet here. So the point here, the moment when a VM is been created, it's mandatory that this has to be created to a VNet, and from that VNet, a private IP address has been assigned here. So definitely you may be getting a question, then who manage the public IP address, who manage the private IP address here. Now, if you take any uh, Azure scenario here, you may be already knowing it's been supporting two version of the protocols here. One, it's called IP version 4, and the second one, it's about IP version 6 also. But if you take the current projects or in your organization, IP version 6 currently in the stage of a migration here. Most of the customer plays still it's been using IP version 4 only. Now, if you take IP version 4, it's been again classified into 5 categories here. One, it's been knowing as a class A IP address. Second one, it's knowing as a class B. Then you can see the third one is a class C, then class D, and class E also. And the IP address, if you take a class A here, any idea what is the range it's been used? It's been using a range 0.0.0 127.0.127.255.255.255. So it's been using a range of a 127 dot series here. So that's the way it's been configured for class A here. And if you take a class B, the IP address range has been coming 128.0.0.0.2 hyphen 191.255.255.255 here. And the class C IP range, it's been coming 192.0.0.0.2 223.255.255.255 here. And the class D, it's been coming 224.0.0.0.2 239.255.255.255, and class E it's been coming, it's a 240.240.0.0.2 to 55.255.255.255 here. So you can see the range, it's been coming like a class, it's been coming like a class A to class E here. Now in a real-time scenario, class D IP address normally it's been using for multicast purpose. So technically we are not assigning to any VM here. Basically this has been used for a multicast purpose here. And class E, you may be knowing, this has been using for an experimental purpose here. So class E also technically we are not using here. So you have a class D and you have a class E is been available. So these are the IP address classification is been done, and with the help of that, this communication has been happening on in a real-time scenario. Yes. So you are going to use only class A, B, and C only for the end user or in a systems or a devices on in a Azure scenario here. Now again, this has been classified into two category here. First category, it's been known as a public IP address. Second one, it's basically known as a private IP address here. So you have a two categories been available. One, it's known as a public IP address. Second one, it's been known as a private IP address here. So whatever IP address has been available here, it's been classified into two. One, it's been like a private IP address, and the second one, it's been using for the uh, a classification, or it's been like option for a public IP address here. So public IP address, it's been used for the external communication. Private IP address, it's basically using for the internal communications here. Now, if you want to see what is the range it's been used here, let me type it here. If you take a public IP address here, so you have a public IP address. If you type it here, public IP address and a private IP address here. Now, if you take a public IP address, your range it's going to be like 1.0.0.2. Let me type it here. 1.0.2, 9.255.255.255, or you can see 11.0.0.2, 126.255.255.255. So if you take a public IP address, the real range is means something like this: 11.128.0.0.02 to 172.15.255.255, then 172.32.0.0.2, 191.255.255.255, 255 here. You can see 192.0.0.0.2, 192.168.255 here. You can see 192.169.0.0.2. It's like a 223 dot. Let me move this tab here. Yeah, so it's going to be 223 dot 255 dot 255 dot 255 here. So this all IP address, it's basically knowing as a public IP address here. So technically this IP address you can use in a internet here. So any IP address which you can able to use or in a network aspects, any IP address which can be route in the internet, that basically is been knowing as a public IP address here. And if you take a Microsoft Azure scenario, all the public IP address are costly products here. So there's a cost is been associated here. It's not a free product here. So any public IP address, it's been assigned to any device or in any resource here. There is a cost is been associated, and it's been managed by the Microsoft here. It's not by us. What is the range or what is the IP address to be assigned to each service or each device or each resource? That basically is to be managed by the Microsoft here. So it's not, we don't have any role on deciding the number here. It's been managed by the Microsoft here. So it's been handled or it's been handled by the Microsoft here. It's always handled by the Microsoft here. Now, if you go back to the private IP address here, any IP address which can be used internally here. Now, if you type it internally here, one set of the IP address, it's been designed which can be used only for internally here. So you can use it like a 10.0.0.0 into 9.255.255.255 or 11 not 10 dot series, right? So it's been 172 dot if you take here, no, 1 second, it's a correction. 10.0.0.2, 10.255.255.255, and if you take this 172.16.0.0.2, 172.31.255.255, or you can see 192.168.0.20.2, 192.168.255.255. So these are the set of IP address. It's basically knowing as a private IP address, and this normally it's been assigned with the help of a VNet here. So any server which you are configuring here, always it's been configured with the help of a VNet here. See, with the help of a VNet, this has been configured here. So that's the way it's been configured here. See, so you can able to see like you have a resources been available, and with help of that, it's been configured here. You can see here. It's been VNet here. See, you have a VNet. It's been available here. See, with the help of that VNet has been configured here, and this it's basically handled by EU. It's not been handled by the Microsoft here. Microsoft will be created a automatic IP address here, but in a real-time scenario, in a project or in a production scenario, this has to be configured by us here rather than Microsoft is been deciding. Better to decide from our side here, and you may be able to see here there is no cost has been associated here. It's been free, or it's been completely say free of cost. A private IP address has been configured. This you cannot use in internet here because this is not a routable IP address here. You cannot not routable IP address here. It's not a routable IP address here, so you cannot configure on in a internet here. So there's a one important point here. So in case if you want to use it here, it's been not possible. This has to be used only on in internally only here. So that's about private IP address and public IP address here. Any questions from anyone? I'll pose it here for your questions. I hope you are able to follow. I hope you can able to follow this concept here. I request everyone to confirm to the chat option. So no questions here. Great. I request everyone to just put a comment here if you are confident on so far whatever topic we have been discussed. I request everyone to comment it on the chat. Great. So you may be noticed here. Currently, we have been covered a private IP address portion here. We have created one VNet also. Now let's go back and see how this IP address is got distributed here. Now, if you go back here, you can see there is a virtual network. It's got created here, and virtual network name we have been given as a orange prodnet here. See, there is a orange prodnet name we have been given. Now, if you go back here, you can see here virtual network has been created here, right? You can see here 10.0.0.16 here. And if you go back to this virtual machine here, you can see here you have a VM has been created. What is the IP address has been created here? You can see here you have a resource has been like 10.0.0.4 here. So this IP address you have received from your virtual network here. See, you can see your virtual network has been configured with a range of 10.0.0.16 here. From this VNet, your VMs are assigned with the IP address here. See, 10.0.0.16. From this address space, your IP address has been distributed here. Now, if you go back here, you can see address spaces. This is the range it's been configured. And here VM has been configured with a 0.4 here. Now, definitely you may be getting a question. What happened to 0, 1, 2, 3 here? We'll discuss in the later stage here. Now, let me try to create my second VM also. Now, let me try to create another VM. You can see here. You can see here. New VM it's been creating here. I'll just try to create my second VM. It's been a test VM2. Let's create. Networking here. VM creator. I just attached to the same VNet here. Let's create it here. You can see the second VM. It's been creating and trying to attach the same VNet here. Let's wait. Just trying to create it on the same VM here. Yes, you can see here. Second VM is being got created here. You can see your second VM also created on in the same location here, and it's been mapped to the same network also. See the same orange VNet. This is got map here. See virtual network subnet. It's been connected to the same network here. And what is the IP address it's been received? It's been received 10.0.0.5 here. So what exactly we have done? If you go back to the whiteboard here, you have created one network on in a North Europe location, and we have given a name called prod VNet, and the range have been defined 10.0.0./16 here. That means it's been range has been coming. The range IP address range has been coming 10.0.0.02, 10.0.0.255 here. Now, your first computer you have been mapped into the same VNet here. So technically what happened? It's been created a range of 10.0.0.4 here. So there is an IP address. It's been released from your VNet to this VM here. So whatever IP address has been available, your address space has been configured. From this address space, the IP address has been assigned to your VM here. So you have a resources been available here. Is that concept has been clear, team? You can see here you have a server has been available. You see, right? You may be able to see like you have a resource has been available. With the help of that, you can able to assign here. Now, if you connect my second VM here, you have a second VM has been available here 10.0.0.5 here. It's been received the IP address from the same pool. You see, the moment when you create your VM, if you map your VM on into the same VNet, you can see the IP address is been received from this pool here. See, 10.0.0.5 here. Now, if you're trying to create another VM on in a different location here, let me try to create on in another location. Possible, like I'll try to create as a test VM3. Instead of a North Europe location, let me try to create in a East US location. See, we're just trying to create it on in another location here. Now, if you go back to this networking tab here, so where is our VNet? See our VNet, it's been missing here. Why we are not able to see that one here? See, so the point here, we cannot have your virtual machine and your VNet on in a different data center. Both has to be on in the same location here. Now, if you go back to this, all these previous virtual machines, you can see your VM like a test VM1 and a test VM2. Both are available on in a North Europe location, and your virtual network also on the same location here. See, on in the North Europe location. See, so we cannot have your VM and your virtual network on in a different location. Both has to be on in the same location here. See here, if I'm trying to create on in the same location here, that means the North Europe, you may be able to see the same VM you will be getting. Test VM3. just selecting the networking here. See, the orange VNet is been getting here. Now, the moment when you change the location to another country or another data center, you can see your VNet is been missing here. See, so we cannot have your VM and VNet to be configured on in a different location. That's been not possible. So whenever you configure a VM, your VM and your VNet has to be on in the same location here. I hope that point or that concept has been clear to everyone here. Any questions from anyone? I'll pose it here. Any questions from anyone? I can see there is a one answer here. It's been uh, it's been good to go. That's great. Now, there's that one important point you need to remember here. Another one, you maybe notice here the first two VMs which has been corrected, it's been created here. First one is getting a IP address 4. Second VM has been getting 0.5 here. So definitely you may be getting a question here. What happened to my 10.0.0.0 and 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, and 10.0.0.255 here? So the question, uh, most of the people may be looking right now here. This all IP address, it's basically known as reserved IP addresses here. So if you take any devices here, by default, this set of IP address, it's been used for a different purpose here. Now, if you take any IP address here, like X dot, I'll put it this way here rather than 10 here. If you create any CADR block or IP schema, by default, X dot 0, X dot X can be 10 dot series or a 192 series or 192 series also. 1, X dot, X dot, X dot 2, X dot 3, X dot, X dot, X dot 255. These all are known as reserved IP address here. So this has been used for network address. This has been used for network address purpose. 1, it's been used for gateway. 2, it's been used for Azure DNS. This also it's been used for Azure DNS here. And 255, it's been used for broadcast purpose here. So the point here, whenever you implement any VMs here, few IP address are reserved by the Microsoft here. So the first IP address your end client is going to be get from 4 onwards only. So when you plan any IP schema, or if you are an architect for your IP solution, please you can able to see like you have a IP address is been started on in the other side here. So that's the way it's been configured. So this is basically known as reserved IP address here. And same way you can able to remember 127 series also we are not assigning for any devices here because this has been using for a TCP/IP validation here or a verifications here that basically known as a loopback IP address here. So the IP address is basically known as loopback IP address here. So loopback IP address also generally we are not using for assigning to any of the VMs here. And you can recall 169.254.x.x. That is a class B IP address that basically known as a PIP IP address also. This also it's been reserved IP address here. So whenever you are responsible for designing any IP address on in your real-time scenario, please keep this point in your mind. Don't assign or don't configure any IP address in a 169 dot or a IP address like a 10.0.1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 255 because this has been a reserved IP addresses here. So this point everyone can remember here. So this is the way normally the IP address is being configured. With the help of that, you can able to manage or enable your networking on in a real-time scenario here. So with that questions, with that point, let's pause for the day 2 here for a Q&A here. Now you can ask any questions if you have on the topic we have been covered in the last 2 days here, or in case if you have any open questions, let us know also. So I'll pause it here for Q&A here. I believe you already joined the WhatsApp community we have, because we used to share all the materials, and we used to share a lot of informations, uh, training programs, webcast, whatever things has been happening across the Microsoft side. If there is any outage or is there any kind of a changes has been happening, we used to notify the people here. So we request you to join the WhatsApp community and the Facebook community or the channels also here. That will give you more insight about the latest technology, latest training program. And in case if you need any technical assistance is needed, we are happy to help you also here. So let's move on to the Q&A sessions here. In case if you have any question, let's have the connector. Great. If you're good, can you comment it on the chat here? If you have learned something here. So this is the link here, right? You can see here. Great. So these are the WhatsApp community and Discord community and details here, where you can able to get all the emergency help support here. Try to join the WhatsApp community at least and share here. Great. In case if you want to, I can see there is one question from Saki here. Uh, I want to know about a subscription for a personal testing here. Sakir, you can do options here. One, it's been like you can create a free account here. So you can just go to uh, Microsoft free account page here. You can just type Azure free account. You can click on this website here. This will allow you to create a free account here. If you create a free account here, this will allow you to use the account for 30 days, and there is a $200 also will be assigned on in your subscription. But one important point you need to remember, at the moment when you create a free account, you have to provide your credit card details. That's only for the validation purpose, and you need to provide a valid email ID and a mobile number also. There's one option you can use it here. Or in case if you're from a college, you can submit your all your college details here. Then you can able to download Azure Students account also. There is a Students account also available. For that, you need to just provide your college or institution details, which will allow you to create a Students account, which got $100 available inside that. So with the help of that, you can practice it here. Any other questions from anyone? So the silence we are taking, it's in like you have been learned a lot, and it's been good for everyone. Thank you, team, and I appreciate everyone here who spend your personal time for learning this new technology here. And definitely we'll have a another set of program has been coming on the upcoming week. Wish you a happy new year and great year ahead. Over to you, Surak.
Thank you, Robin, for the wonderful training. And yeah, and thank you everyone for taking the time to stay during the holiday times to learn something. I hope you guys have taken something from the session. And I'll be sharing the form to fill out to get the today's certificate. And you can fill it out and receive it right away. And yeah, and I hope you guys have joined one of our community at least, so that you can get update about the upcoming sessions that we'll be doing, and also the training that will be coming up next year. And yeah, I think that's all of it. And I also put the YouTube link where you can find our previous sessions as well. So that's it, everyone. And again, thanks for joining. And I hope you'll have a great Happy New Year. Thank you,
Thank you.
and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.